Education isn't a degree, it's a lifestyle. There are moments in life when you sit quietly and ask yourself, what have I truly learned? Not from textbooks, not from classrooms, but from life itself. Because sometimes the most powerful lessons come wrapped in pain and failure and silence. They told us education is a degree, a certificate, a piece of paper to hang on the wall. But no one told us that real education begins when the lights go out, when dreams shatter, when the world stops clapping. Real education is when you fall and rise again and again, and each time you rise, you become softer, wiser, stronger. Education is not limited to schools or books or grades. It's in the way you treat others when no one is watching. It's in the way you rebuild yourself after being broken. It's how you choose kindness over ego, how you choose hope over despair. So today, let's redefine it. Let's speak of education as a lifestyle, an everyday commitment to grow, to feel, to rise beyond labels and limitations. Because true education doesn't end with a graduation cap. It begins with a decision to never stop learning, never stop evolving, never stop living with purpose. And maybe, just maybe, the most educated people in the world are the ones who never gave up. But education is not a degree, it's a way of life. Hup. True learning begins beyond the classroom. Life struggles teach more than any textbook. Kindness, resilience, and empathy are signs of real education. Never stop evolving. Education is a lifelong journey. Education is not a degree, it's a way of life. This one truth is often overlooked in a world that measures success by certificates, grades, and framed accomplishments. From a young age, we are conditioned to believe that our worth is tied to a piece of paper, a degree that supposedly defines how educated we are. We spend years chasing marks, learning to memorize rather than understand, to perform rather than reflect. But real education doesn't end when the bell rings. It begins when we step into life, when we are thrown into situations that no syllabus ever prepared us for. True education is not confined to a classroom. It is lived every single day, in the way we speak, in the way we listen, in how we treat others, and in how we grow from our experiences. It's about how we respond when life tests our patience, our courage, and our compassion. A degree can open a door, but education is what keeps us walking through it with purpose, grace, and strength. It's not about knowing the answers, it's about being brave enough to ask the questions that matter. We learn the deepest lessons not from lectures, but from loss, from failure, from heartbreak. When we fall and have to rise again, when we lose people we thought we couldn't live without, when dreams collapse, and yet we find the courage to build new ones, that is education. Every moment that pushes us to become more than who we were yesterday is a lesson worth more than gold. Education is in humility. It's in knowing that we don't know everything, and that's okay. It's in understanding that someone with no degree might teach us the most profound truths of life. It's in accepting others without judgment, in seeing the world through different lenses, in growing every time we choose understanding over ego. When we let life shape us with its highs and lows, we start to live with more awareness. We start to see learning as a continuous, beautiful, and painful process that refines us, not for the sake of applause, but for the sake of becoming better human beings. It's easy to wear a graduation gown. It's much harder to wear the weight of failure with grace. A real student of life doesn't stop learning after graduation. They learn from every tear, every smile, every betrayal, every act of love. They learn from silence, from solitude, from being misunderstood, and from finding the courage to stay soft in a world that often demands hardness. That is a lifestyle. That is what it means to live with an educated heart. Education as a lifestyle is a daily decision to choose growth over comfort, to choose patience when you want to react, to choose listening over shouting. It's in the smallest of things, the way we apologize, the way we forgive, the way we lift others when we are broken ourselves. These are not lessons that can be taught in a classroom. These are lessons that life teaches the brave, the kind, and the willing. True learning begins beyond the classroom. While schools and universities provide the foundation, the real depth of education starts when we walk into the world, unguarded and uncertain. It's outside the comfort of four walls, where life tests our knowledge, challenges our beliefs, and forces us to confront what we truly understand. A classroom can teach you formulas, theories, and structured answers. But it is life that teaches you how to handle uncertainty, how to respond when things don't go according to plan, and how to adapt when the rules change without warning. In the classroom, mistakes are marked with red ink. Outside, they leave scars on the heart, on the soul, and yet those very scars are what make us wiser. We often believe that education ends with exams and certificates, but real learning starts when we fail, when we fall, and when we're forced to stand back up without a hand to help us. Those are the moments that shape who we become. No teacher can prepare us for the pain of losing someone we love, or the strength it takes to keep going when everything falls apart. But those experiences, painful as they are, teach us more than any lecture ever could. Life doesn't hand us a syllabus, Theopis. It surprises us with challenges we never asked for and responsibilities we didn't feel ready for. In those moments, we grow in ways we didn't think possible. When we're forced to make decisions, face consequences, and carry burdens, we learn responsibility, resilience, and empathy, lessons that no textbook can offer. We learn that being right isn't always the most important thing, and that sometimes understanding someone else's pain is more powerful than winning an argument. We also learn from people, ordinary people with extraordinary hearts. A mother who sacrifices her dreams to build ours. A worker who labors day and night without recognition. A friend who chooses to stay even when it's hard. These are life's teachers, and their lessons go deeper than any academic degree. Their lives teach us about compassion, perseverance, humility, and love, the kind of lessons that shape character, not resumes. The world outside the classroom is unpredictable. It will not ask if you passed your final exam. It will test your integrity, your patience, your values. It will demand that you stay kind when others are not, that you remain honest when lying is easier, and that you keep walking when your legs are tired. These are the real tests. And every time you pass them, you learn something that cannot be measured in grades. When we stop seeing education as something confined to books and institutions, we begin to see it everywhere, in failure, in heartbreak, in healing, in growth. We begin to understand that life is the greatest teacher, and its lessons don't come with warnings. They come suddenly, sometimes painfully, but always with the potential to transform us if we are willing to listen. True learning happens when we're open to change, when we allow life to stretch us, challenge us, and lead us to deeper truths. Our life struggles teach more than any textbook. There are lessons buried in pain that no classroom can uncover. When life knocks you down, it doesn't wait for you to be ready. It doesn't ask whether you've studied for the test. It just happens, raw, unfiltered, and often without mercy. And yet, those moments become the most powerful chapters of your personal education. They are the lessons that burn themselves into your soul, the ones that don't fade with time because they didn't come from pages. They came from survival. When you face rejection after giving everything, when doors close despite your efforts, when people walk away without warning, these are not just heartbreaks. They are classrooms of the real world. They teach you how to keep going when your spirit is tired, how to smile when you feel like breaking, how to hold yourself together when everything inside is falling apart. These aren't the kind of lessons you can memorize. These are the ones you feel with every heartbeat. No. Textbooks can teach theories of resilience, but only pain teaches you how to breathe through it. You learn patience not from definitions, but from waiting for healing that takes longer than you expected. You learn strength not by lifting weights, but by carrying burdens that no one sees. You learn love not by reading poetry, but by choosing to forgive when you've been deeply hurt. And you learn hope by holding on even when there's no reason left to believe. Failure, disappointment, and loss become your greatest teachers. They strip away ego, they quiet the noise, and they reveal who you really are. When everything you depended on is taken away, you meet a version of yourself you never knew existed. That version, the one that keeps going without applause, the one that chooses kindness despite betrayal, the one that gets up after the 100th fall, is the most educated version of you. Sometimes the lessons come through silence, through nights where sleep won't come, through moments where all you can do is cry, and it's in those moments you discover strength. Not the kind that roars, but the kind that whispers, "I'll try again tomorrow." That whisper is a degree life gives you, earned not in lecture halls, but in the dark corners of struggle where most people never see you. And then there are the people who come into your life just to teach you something. The ones who hurt you, the ones who heal you, and the ones who leave you just when you thought they would stay. Each of them adds something to your understanding of life. Some teach you boundaries, others teach you trust. And a few teach you that your heart can break and still beat with compassion. These aren't mistakes. They are teachers in disguise. In the end, it's not the easy days that shape you. It's the broken ones. The ones that made you cry, scream, question everything. Those are the days that carved your strength. Those are the moments that gave you a kind of wisdom no classroom ever could. Because life, with all its storms, has a way of teaching the lessons that truly matter. Kindness, resilience, and empathy are signs of real education. Not the kind that comes with medals or diplomas, but the kind that grows quietly within us through lived experience. These are not subjects taught from textbooks, but values learned from the way we rise after falling, from the way we treat others when no one is watching, from the way we hold space for someone else's pain, even when we are hurting ourselves. True education isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just the choice to be gentle in a world that keeps giving us reasons to be hard. A truly educated person understands that success is not measured in wealth or titles, but in character. It's easy to speak eloquently about compassion. It's harder to live it when you are angry or exhausted. But the moments we choose kindness over pride, forgiveness over revenge, listening over judgment, those are the moments when real learning takes place. Because those choices don't come from books. They come from within. They come from the depth of someone who has felt pain and still chooses to heal others. Someone who has been broken but still offers others peace. Resilience is not about being strong all the time. It's about allowing yourself to bend without breaking. Every heartbreak, every challenge, every new beginning adds a new layer to your understanding of life and of yourself. There will be days when you feel stuck, when progress seems invisible, when you question if you've grown at all. But even in stillness, learning is happening. Sometimes the lesson is in patience, sometimes it's in silence, and sometimes it's in allowing yourself to just be, without pressure to prove. Not all growth is loud. Some of it is quiet, like the slow healing of a wound or the silent shift of perspective that changes how you see everything. When we keep our hearts and minds open, life keeps teaching us. Through people, through pain, through beauty, and through loss. Through cultures we don't yet understand and ideas that challenge our own. Each experience adds a brushstroke to the canvas of who we are becoming. The more we evolve, the more we begin to realize that education is not just about knowing. It's about becoming. Becoming someone who's constantly curious, constantly compassionate, and constantly willing to rise into a better version of themselves. No matter your age, no matter your background, the invitation to grow never expires. Life will keep whispering its lessons, sometimes gently, sometimes through storms. The question is not whether life will teach you. It always does. The question is whether you're willing to keep learning. Whether you're brave enough to keep evolving, whether you choose to carry your experiences not as weight, but as wisdom.